This is a demo of the Roland TD-11. It's a new purchase for myself, but has been on the market already for a number of years. Pretty much you buy the head and then you can pick what individual heads you'd like. So for example, you get mesh heads or the normal rubber ones. And eventually I will be upgrading to the mesh heads for everything, because I really like the mesh head that's on the snare. Actually, for beginners, it's really easy to do a drum roll on. So even if you're not very proficient at doing drum roll on a real snare, on this thing, it's a dream. It is a dream. If I could find a skin like this on natural hair, oh, heaven. So I don't have a particularly large setup, just the two main cymbals plus the hi-hat. That's the ride and crash, of course. And I've got high, low, and high, mid, and low tom. The low tom comes preset as a 14-inch, but I've done a user setting, so I've put a 16-inch. Now, this is only particularly helpful if you know exactly what everything is. So I'm just going to go through it very quickly, very efficiently. So, our snare is the vintage Maple S. Hi-hat is the custom HH. 16-inch paper crash detuned to -10. That's a much nicer sound. 10-inch birch T1. 12-inch birch T2. 16-inch birch T4. And finally, 20-inch custom ride. That's the setup. So let's hear the kit. Here's the snare. Tom 1. Tom 2. And tom 3. Bass drum is the Maple K. That's your bass drum sound. Now interestingly, I have a Mapex Armory, so everything on the kit's maple, except for a walnut snare. But the likeness of these to my maple kit, you can actually hear a YouTube video of my maple kit, the acoustic one. But these toms, which are maple, well meant to be, actually quite realistic. So I really like them. Especially I've done some little bits of recording through MIDI. Oh, it's a beautiful kit. And you can hear everything that's going on. I'm actually going to take this with me to big bands to play professionally. And yeah, it's amazing. They do much better kind of brains than the TD-11. But I wanted my budget to suit that. So I'm really thrilled so far. I love it that you can have all the individual custom cymbals, because I've spent hundreds over the years on all these individual AAX, Sabian and all that, and now I can pick what I like and I can have it. Yeah, wonderful. Ride sounds like this. Yeah, you can get that. But also they, of course, you have to get used to doing that. It's like a millisecond before you need it, so you go. So I'm just a bit ahead of the band, but it works really well. Crash. Actually, the dark crash is lovely too, and again, you get that dual zone on everything. And unlike others, like my other cheap electric drum kits, Cough Gear for Music, this one is fantastic for actually response. When I want to hit on top, it just does it. Even if I'm really wacky, it knows where I'm hitting. Yeah, my other ones go a little bit crazy with everything, even the higher end of some of the other cheap models. I love it. It does everything. So let's play something. Wonderful, hey? Quiet. Bit of on the side there of the snare. Now when you got that, it's actually quite hard to do it. That's when you're crossing over and hitting the edge of the snare. It's actually awkward to do it on this. It's not it's because you need the amount of pressure is set. So the mesh head for the particular one, I think it's called the PDX. It's a PDX something. Definitely not the 100 one. PDX 8, I guess. I think it probably is. Which is odd because it's actually 10-inch, but it's called 8. Never mind. But when you want to hit it, if you use your normal strength to hit the middle of the mesh, you need to hit that normal strength on the edge to get that rim shot, which is actually quite unusual. Normally with drums like this, and you can't set it individually, normally with drums like this you would be able to pull the volume up from the rim. So, but when I'm using the strength I would normally on an acoustic kit to do the side, it's really quiet. So when I've got it's not really loud enough for me, and if I really go for it, it pushes the snare down. It actually makes it tip over, which isn't good for me. So I just whack it from the side. And that's how I have to do my rim shots. Plus the kit's quite compact, so I have everything really low. Normally Makeup's army are quite thin, which is nice, but that's just a way around it, and unless I'm in big bands I very rarely do rim shots, so it doesn't bother me too much. That's pretty much a simple demo of it. If you want more, just ask.